Howdy ho, folks. This is the Hotspur Hood. Tonight it's me and Dan here with the Spurs UnCensored. We've been doing it a few weeks now. Regular show on a Sunday night, a little bit earlier than normal. I want to say thank you, anybody watching now or in the next whenever. If you're watching the recording, because we know it's diluted the Spurs shows right now. So if you are watching, we appreciate it. I think some other shows doing like Liverpool and Luton. Highlights or reaction. No. Why would you watch that? This is the Hood. We're only talking Spurs. We might mention it briefly, other teams' games, but no, we keep it Spurs here. We keep it Spurs, and we call it uncensored because we get a few. We're gonna talk about a few controversial topics today. One in particular, I think you'll enjoy. But I tell you what, I think look, the weekend it's been crazy. The results: Arsenal lose to Newcastle, Liverpool drop points to Luton, Forest beating Villa earlier. That's a big game too. I think they won 2-0. So
2-0 they done.
Look at that later. But this is Spurs. We're second now. We go back to top if we beat Chelsea. We will stay second if we draw on goal difference. So this is huge that we get the 3 points tomorrow. Before we get started, smash the like, subscribe. Super chats are on. Before we begin today's show in full. Danny, mate, how you doing? What have you made of today? Have you been watching any of the games?
No, I didn't really get to watch any of the games today. It was sort of like just watching the results, just been out, fireworks, all that sort of crap, all that today. Yeah, but you can't say this weekend has not far off gone perfect for us, really. Not far from it, as long as we win tomorrow.
Other than the Man City game, obviously, where they just ripped.
Yeah,
but was it? They just ripped.
Yeah, that's Man City, though. That's Man City. They was never going to lose that one. But Liverpool dropping points, Villa dropping points, Arsenal finally getting shown for what they are, and that it's gone our way. It all depends on what we do with it tomorrow.
I said before the show started, we were just talking backstage, me and Dan. I thought Liverpool lost. I was watching it, and I saw the full time, but I thought they bloody lost. So I must have missed the goal. I must have missed the Diaz equaliser in the 95th minute. Liverpool got a point more than they deserved, probably. But
a couple of videos I watched on it, quick sort of thing. Where you just look on your Sky thing and that. Yeah, that Nunes, mate. Wow, that's two sitters he had. Oh,
miss.
Bad. Yeah. One of them was bad. He put it right over the crossbar from like I don't know, 3 yards out or whatever.
I see that one. The only game I sort of watched was Liverpool Luton in and out. That's the only game I watched over the weekend. To be honest with you, the entire weekend. We don't need to watch any other teams now. We're smashing it ourselves.
Yesterday I watched. I kept swinging back and forth from Newcastle, Arsenal, and Dortmund, Munich.
Yeah. That was crazy. That was hat-trick against Dortmund away. I was actually looking more forward to the Juventus game tonight. Juventus playing Fiorentina now. Quite a big game because we're linked with every Juventus player there is. Once again, Chiesa, Cambiaso, and of course Fiorentina are smashing it too. I think they're in the top 4. So
in top of the league. They had a nice 2-1 win yesterday.
Yeah,
painful thing I see happen in that though, where the fella literally stamped on his head accidentally with his heel right on the fella's temple. How he even come out playing on that, I don't know. I mean, it was an accident. But
what game was that?
Inter, and basically, he jumped over the fella sort of thing. Didn't mean to, but stuck his bottom right stud straight in the fella's temple. It looked pretty bad. It was an accident. It was an accident, but it didn't look friendly.
That doesn't sound good. That doesn't sound good to me.
Right. It didn't look friendly.
First up, on tonight, we've got a lot of versus battles. So if you're in the chat, tell us what you think. First up, Bentancur versus Bissouma. He's returned. He's finally returned, Benny. He might even get a few minutes against Chelsea. Who do you rate higher? I think we might have a little bit of a different point of view here, me and Dan. Bissouma or Benny? Who do you rate higher?
Bissouma. I think Bissouma as an all-round player is better. And plus, I think, say for instance, you take Sarr out and put Bentancur there, yeah? But then you take Bissouma off and put Højbjerg there or whatever. I think you'll miss Bissouma more than you will Bentancur. And I think that's already proving itself at the moment. Yeah, we got used to not having Bentancur there. But Basuma is one, when he's at his peak, I think you will miss miles more. He's more of a, I think he's more of a complete player. He's more of the heartbeat we need in that middle. Now, don't get me wrong, I do rate Bentancur. He's very good, but Basuma, I actually think he don't get enough credit, personally. He does a lot of the dirty work. He likes getting forward and back and everything. I think he's more of a complete player.
The way I see it, right, it's very difficult. It's very tricky because they both have similarities, but there's also some big differences to their game. The way I see it, so both very good at keeping the ball. Benny both-footed. That's a big plus. It makes it very difficult to close him down because you close him down one side, he takes it the other side and distributes the ball there. Basuma's very agile, extremely agile.
Yeah.
He always looks really smooth. He just looks like a smooth operator on the ball. He really, really does. But what I think Bentancur does better. Just 1 second. What I think his forward passing is better. I don't think Bissouma is a great passer of the ball at all. I don't think Bentancur is a great passer of the ball, but I think he's better. I think he's better. Bissouma struggles, say, when Maddison can't get the ball. When Maddison isn't on the ball, Bissouma and Sarr struggle because they're not naturally creative. But what Bissouma is better at is definitely the defensive work. Bissouma is better at the defensive work, winning the ball off the opposition in the final third. I trust Bissouma over Bentancur every day. And I will say this: first 5 games of the season, Bissouma, fantastic. But I don't think the last 4 or 5 games have been that great, especially in the first halves. Against Luton, obviously he got sent off. I think he's getting frustrated against Luton. Maddison wasn't in the game at all, and he tried to create, but he just couldn't do it. Arsenal first half, Palace first half. I think second half he's been fantastic, but just recently I haven't seen the Bissouma of the first 5 games.
He has slipped. He has slipped a bit in his first half. He has slipped to his standards. One other thing I make about Bentancur is, and this is one thing he used to actually get on my nerves with a bit. I think he almost, I won't say lazy, but sometimes it's like he's either unaware of what's going on around him or he's either too sure of himself. Because I've seen several times him standing there, he's got the ball quite nicely, and it's usually when he's got his back to the other end and he's about to turn it. Next thing you know, someone runs across the side and takes the ball clean off him. It has happened a few times. He does loses his concentration a bit now and again. I'm not saying it happens regular and that, but I've seen it happen a few times. I don't know. He seems to go in his own little world for a couple of seconds, loses the ball. Yeah, he does a good job of covering it and getting it back or trying to and that, but it does happen a bit too often sometimes with him. He does lose his concentration a bit.
For me, when Bissouma gets going, it can almost be unplayable. When he gets in that mindset, that confidence situation, it's almost like Son when he's one-on-one. If he keeps scoring Son, he'll finish everything. And it's the same with Bissouma. When he starts well, he can be outstanding. I remember his debut against West Ham. He started badly, and that was one of the worst debuts I've ever seen from a centre midfielder. It really was. But when he gets going, he's better than Bentancur. He's better than most centre midfielders in the Premier League. So I get what you say. Sometimes he can be lethargic at times. And Bentancur,
Bentancur is the one.
I've noticed that Bentancur in his first 6 months, even though he played well, him and Kulusevski, when they're coming out against the big teams, Bentancur really did struggle. He changed it a little bit first half of last season. But there's definitely strengths and weaknesses for both players. And it's a good conversation to have.
But Bentancur does lose concentration a bit. He does. And I've seen it happen to him about 7 times, where just out of nowhere, all of a sudden, he just gets the ball taken off him when there's actually no pressure on him whatsoever. And he almost takes too long to make... I don't know, he just seems to lose concentration for a second. That does happen a bit with him. But he's a quality player. But I agree with what Wayne's just said here. Bissouma is our rock in the team. He really is. He's the heartbeat in it. And I don't think a lot of people notice it.
Do you know what? Do you think that, you know, Wayne, big up Wayne, big up Louis, big up Jacob and Mark. Do you think that, say Bentancur is fully fit, would you not put him next to Bissouma? Would you still put Sarr next to Bissouma?
No, I'll put him on over Sarr. But then
Sarr if he's fully fit, it's difficult to recover from an ACL.
Yeah,
but if he's fully fit,
it's always buts and maybes. If he can be to the same quality and standards that he was before he got injured, he's going to get in that team. But let's see how good he is when he comes back. Because if he gets working to the quality he was at, and he takes Sar's place, and don't get me wrong, Sar has been very good, but he's still very he's very fresh in his own way, sort of thing. He's only 20. He's still got a lot to learn. I mean, they're even saying they can't really work out his position properly, whether he's a 6, 8, or 10 yet. He's capable of all three, is what the statement has been made by Ange.
I don't think he's a 10. I don't think he's a 10.
I don't think
he's creative at all.
I agree. I'm just saying what Ange has actually said. And I personally think you go put Bentancur behind Basuma and Maddison, you got one of the top 3 midfields in the Premiership. As long as Bentancur comes back to the standard he was at, that is a dangerous 3 to have. And I can only think
that is the biggest strength so far this season. The biggest strength, that three midfield quartet. Because as I said, Basuma and Maddison faultless in the first 5 games. Don't get me wrong, Basuma hasn't had any bad games. I just feel like in certain games he's not been as good in the first half. Luton was obviously a bad game because he got sent off.
It happens. But Mark's just said it perfectly here. Finally, we have another Dembele. That is basically the way I look on it, and that's the way I've said it before. He is that player that we have not replaced since we haven't had Dembele, because Bentancur is not that type of player. He's good at defending. If anything, he's what I'd call, he's more of a deep line playmaker, defensive midfielder, all in one sort of thing, because he can defend and he can tackle quite nicely. I mean, Inter, they played him as DM most of the time, but he has got that bit of creativity in him as well, where he can set it up from there for the next man as such.
The way I see it, both will not score goals. I think before Bentancur came to Spurs, in something like 7 seasons, he scored 3 goals. And Uruguay, he scored 1. Same with Basuma, he will never score goals. I just don't see him as that creative in the final third. I really, really don't. And it does worry me. Same with Dembele. I think Dembele started as a striker. So actually, when he went to Fulham, he was actually a striker, signed from Twente.
Don't ask me how.
Yeah, they moved him to centre mid. In absolute gun.
He can't score.
I see what you're saying, Mark, but Dembele for me is just like up there. He's one of my legends. I know he had a bad injuries, but he's one of my favourite ever Spurs players. And that boy was a beast. He was just, you're not getting the ball off him. You are not getting the ball off him. Basuma's the same to a certain extent, but not as big as Dembele.
He never lived. For me, Dembele never got to live up to his full potential because of the injuries he had. That man could have been not far off world class. And so many other players did say that he was the hardest one they ever played against. But where he had so many injuries and he was held back by it, I don't think Dembele ever quite lived up to his potential. And to still be spoken about like he is, that definitely says a lot.
Yeah,
he could have been a world-class player at practically any club for what he did. No, he's not a scorer. Bentancur, yeah, all right, you can say he scored 4 goals for us, but then I can turn around and say to people, so did Højbjerg. But then Højbjerg just gets stick for it. Bentancur ain't an out-and-out goal scorer. He'll score one out of nowhere. Same as Basuma might, same as Højbjerg might. But Basuma being in there is now that heartbeat we needed in our team. Yeah, we need him to step it up a gear again, especially tomorrow with Chelsea, because that's going to be a bloody hard game tomorrow, no matter what. And I think you might see Bentancur come on, but only for about 15 minutes if he does.
I think it's highly dependent on what the score is at that point.
Yeah,
as with most substitutions. I think, do you know what? I've been thinking about it today. Because Bentancur's, I think he's relatively creative. I think he was forced to be creative for Spurs last season because we had absolutely nothing with Højbjerg, basically. So in many ways he was forced and he done really well. That's why he scored goals. Where in Juve,
he has got creativity.
In Juve, he was very, very deep. I think he could play in number 10 when Maddison gets injured. I think he could.
You
don't think he's as creative enough to play as number 10.
I've said it enough times. I'd rather put Kulusevski as my number 10 if we've got no one to put there. And I've said it to enough people, enough times, and I think a few people have actually gone and finally checked it out. When he did play as a number 10 for Juventus, wasn't loads of games, but when he did have to a few times, because Chiesa came there and that, he done an all right job. Kulusevski has got creativity in him. I keep saying it's just where he's on that. When he'll be behind the number 9 on his left foot, he's still got all options to pass at. When he's on the right-hand side and he can only do it with his left foot, he's only got one option, really, and that's put it on his left foot and try it from there. Put him as a number 10. I think you'll actually see better out of him. But no way is he getting in the number 10 over Maddison. So
no. I mean, if he needs a rest, say over Christmas, or obviously if he actually gets injured, then you probably have to make that decision. But Dan, we've said this a lot. You've mentioned it a lot on stream, and a lot of people are actually saying Kulusevski could go as a cam. But if he does, what would that mean for Richarlison? Because then you'd stick with Richarlison on the left, because Brennan Johnson would have to go to the right, I'd assume.
The way I would do it personally, same as I got a bit of flank for it yesterday, and that the one I really, really want to see, the way I would do it personally, I would still love to see Porro as a winger out on the right hand side. Why? Obviously not the same quality or standards, but to me, he's a bit of a Gareth Bale. And what I mean by that is, Gareth Bale was a left back or a left wing back, and everybody said it. And then as soon as Harry Redknapp came in, he went, no, my boy ain't no wing back. You, bruv, get up there. And as soon as he got up there, everything came out in him. Now, his defending, Porro, has got better. But is it great? No. He just gets more credit for it because it was so poor when he was doing it. But the man has got better at defence. But he can run, he can dribble, he's got a good pass on him, he's got a bloody good cross on him. He's probably our best crosser we got now that Perisic is out. And he's got a bit of aggression on him. He takes a good free kick. He takes a good corner. For me, he's everything you want your winger to be. And the way I would do it with that, I mean, you'd have to stick Chicken Royale on the right, but if he can do it on the left, he can do it on the right. Depends what game. But yeah, worst out of worst situation, I'll keep Johnson on the left, Porro up on the right, and Kulusevski in the middle, behind Son. That's if like Maddison's injured or out or whatever. I really want to see Porro to go up there.
That's literally, if that was the case and you put Son up top, that is all four players are not natural in that position. Over their career, they haven't been natural in that position. So
I know.
You'll have Son up top, who's played left wing. You'll have Kulusevski as cam, who's mostly played right wing. You'd have Porro as right wing, who's mostly played right back. And you'd have Brennan Johnson, Brennan Johnson's only played right wing or up front on the left. You'd be mad. It'd be crazy.
But when Johnson has been on the left for us, past games, what he has done, he's looked good. Son, like I told everybody, again, he's done as a winger. He's probably one of the best finishers in the Premiership, whether he was out on the wing or whatever. He's a striker through and through now. I'd love to see Porro have a go up there. I really would. I know it'll probably never happen.
I've heard the comparison you just gave about Gareth Bale, and everyone was saying, "Oh, don't put him in the same bracket. Don't put him in the same bracket." But it's worth talking about actually, because Bale did struggle defensively. I don't think Porro's got that obviously extreme pace, but then we don't know because Bale didn't really have it until he moved to the left wing and he didn't have those defensive responsibilities. I mean, it's almost impossible to put those in the same bracket. That's not what Dan's trying to do. That's not what we're trying to do. But it's certainly worth thinking about. The problem with me, I don't mind trying Porro on the right wing, but I'll do anything I can not to play Royal. So I would never risk it. I'd never risk it. I just don't rate him at all. And
that is the problem.
I do think, like, just off the top of my head, I thought about Bentancur, both-footed. Ericsson was both-footed as a cam. I would put him there in front of Lo Celso. I'll put Bissouma behind him and Sarr behind him and possibly try Bentancur. I'd rather do that than Lo Celso. You've got to think
I'd rather do that than Lo Celso. I'd rather do it than Lo Celso. For some reason, it just does not work for Lo Celso over here. For whatever reason, it just don't work. But whenever he seems to play for Argentina, he seems pretty solid. But it ain't meant to be. The man's got to go. It ain't meant to be. So if it was a choice of like Lo Celso or Bentancur playing as the 10 role, I'd agree with you and go Bentancur, because Lo Celso for me is another one that's got to go.
Right, Sean Moran puts, will Poch get a good reception tomorrow, lads? Who knows? I can't wait. I've got a late ticket to the game, so I'm going to find out. I don't really care, to be honest. I'm not going to start booing him. I'm not going to start cheering him. I'm just focused on Spurs. At the end of the game, if he comes over to the Spurs support or something at the end of the game, maybe I'll cheer him because of what happened, what he'd done for Spurs.
He ain't going to do that.
This is at the end of the game. Maybe you'll applaud or clap or do something right at the end of the game, mate. I don't know how I'm going to feel. It's like you don't know how you're going to feel until the end of the game, do you?
The only way that is going to happen is if Chelsea win, yeah. Because if Chelsea lose and then he comes over to us and gives us a clap like that, he's going to have a rock or saying hit him in the side of the head, let alone a bottle. It would be game over from Chelsea bods. They won't have none of that. And the problem is, if he comes over and gives us a clap and they've won, he's going to get a rock in the head from that side as well, because they're going to think he's taking the piss. For him, the best thing he's going to do is keep his head down and, all right, people, and just get off the pitch, whether they win or lose, because he's going to have it thrown at him from all angles.
Right, big up Richo, Everton fan. He's been coming on the show lately. I thought Everton had won the game. I thought they were going to do Brighton 1-0 up for a lot of it. I've always got my accumulator on at 3 o'clock, so I was keeping a check on the games. But they're playing much better these days. Everton, they're staying up because the weakness of the teams at the bottom. Everton are definitely staying up. So I think for the new stadium, Richo, is it next year? You're in your new stadium on the docks.
I think it is next year. I think it is. I think it's
next year or the season after. I'll tell you what, it looks stunning. It looks absolutely stunning. I have to say.
Not as good as Spurs.
Personally, if Bentancur was fully fit, I'd take him over Basuma if my life depended on it. But I honestly think Bentancur and Basuma can play together. I think they've got enough similarities, but Basuma slightly deeper, Bentancur slightly more forward. I honestly do think it could work. If you carry on winning, undefeated, 100% you keep Sarr. You keep Sarr and Basuma. You keep a winning team. But if you do start to lose a few games and we need some experience in there, I'll put Bentancur as your Serie A winner as well. His first team for Juventus. Until the season that they sold him, it was his first team every game.
No, do you know why? Do you know why he actually stopped playing for him? From what I know of, he had a big row with the manager, told him about himself, called him a few nasty words and everything. They wouldn't let him, the manager wouldn't let him on the pitch after that. And then it just went tits up from there, basically.
It's because he wasn't starting games, wasn't it? It's because he wasn't starting games as much that season. He was coming on as a sub.
Yeah, I know there was a big issue between him and the manager just basically said, like, don't care, mate, get him out. And
to be fair,
look how much he cost us. That was a steal.
To be fair, people say that's toxic, but in a way, I like it. It's better than just Ndombele coming on and just doing nothing and then walking off. At least you want to play. At least he's showing some attitude because you actually want to get on the pitch and do something. Ndombele looks like he don't give a fuck. Whether he's on or off, he don't care. So it's not the worst thing in the world.
My man only looks like he cares when he's got a Big Mac, for God's sake. That he shouldn't even be in football, that fella. And it's a shame because we all know he's got skill. We all know he can pass that ball. But do you know what? There's a player that was very similar to him, yeah? Now, here's another one that people might think I'm being a bit strange on. Who's that right back we had? Sergio Herrera? What's his bloody name? Is it Nottingham Forest? Aurier, yeah. Now, you take a sharp look at the player, yeah? He could head the ball. He could run with the ball. He could defend. He could also cross. He could also shoot. He could also score. In a way, he had everything that you'd want your right back to have. But one thing he did not have, he didn't have the brain for it. He had everything you needed, but he just did not have the brain for it. He just did not have a football brain, basically. And I've seen players with less capability than him obviously turn out a lot better. Why? Because they got the brain for it. They got the mentality for it. Football just didn't seem to be his mental game as such, but physically, he could do most of it. He was another strange one for me.
He was better. He was good at crossing the ball as well. He was decent at crossing the ball. Yeah, he was quick.
He was a good player if he knew how to play football, and in general, we didn't.
It's unbelievable the mistakes we made at right back after Walker. We sold Trippier the season after. I can't believe we done that.
Why we ever sold Trippier, especially for 20 million? I think that is one of the biggest mess ups we ever made, letting him go.
Went to Atletico Madrid, won the title there. Look what he's doing at Newcastle.
Yeah. Walker, he had to go for the reason was he weren't staying.
But basically, since Walker, what are we doing? What have we been doing?
Exactly. Walker,
Trippier, Aurier, we had to throw his contract away. Doherty, we had to throw his contract away.
Yep.
Shocking.
Chicken Royale. The thing is with Walker is no matter how much any of us would have wanted him to stay, and the thing is, Levy knew this as well. Walker is no Harry Kane. Walker is more of a I ain't doing it, mate. I'm going where I want to go. I don't care what you say. I'm going there. And he would have done anything he could to get there. Kane, in the end, he's a lot mentally. He's not a fighter, as in he might be on the pitch, but he's not that sort of person that would stand in the pub and have a fight with a person. He's more that person to say, do you know what, mate? I can't be bothered, and he'd walk away. Yeah.
But if he gets punched first, he might attack. Yeah.
I still think he's the sort of person. He's just a nice bloke. Yeah. Whereas Walker's got a lot more attitude on him, and one way or another, Walker would have got that move. Same as Kane should have done, really. Kane should have done it when he had the chance, but we can't complain that he didn't, sort of thing. It's a bit of a catch-22.
What,
but
Richard,
a lot of players,
was it mid-season this season, Everton move? Or is it next season? That's mad. If it's mid-season this season, that's crazy. That's crazy.
I thought it was next season that they moved.
It might mean next season, because they did say next season or 2 years after, so you probably mean mid-season next season. But VAR out, yeah. Do you know what? I've said it many times. I would just keep VAR for the goal line technology. That's it. I'll keep it for that. I'd get rid of the rest. But you can't go back now with technology. You just can't. I don't think it's going to happen.
Yeah, but look, how comes Champions League don't have this problem? They use VAR. I'm not saying it goes 100% right on there, but I'd say it goes 90% right with the Champions League. Why can't we get up to standards? We've got the biggest league on the planet. We got the most money on the planet. We probably got more money in the Premiership than every other league combined, except over in the Arab League or whatever. But that one don't count. And so shouldn't we have the best of everything and then also have the referees that know what they're doing? I mean, if we have to, why don't we just go and buy a couple of Champions League refs or whatever and say, right, you do your VAR for us and that? Because bit of money in the back pocket.
I think foreign refs don't take shit for a start. I don't think foreign refs take shit.
You look at what's his name, the Italian ref, the ball fella who was known.
Colina punched someone. He like pushed
nobody even surrounded him when he was the Italian ref and that in the Italian games I saw. It was only ever the captain that would go up to him, and everyone used to keep distance from him. Why? Because he had respect.
And he pushed players. If players got in his face, he'd push them away. Literally, handle, push them away.
And he'd either book them or even give them a red card if they wouldn't piss off there and then on the spot. Yeah, he didn't care. Now, no one's got respect for referees, players, us, no one, because they give us nothing to respect. But I don't agree with that it's allowed 5 players all going around the ref saying red, and all this crap and everything and that. It should just be technically the 2 captains are allowed to talk to him and the others have to stay 10 foot away, otherwise they get booked.
Yeah.
But you can also understand it because if I'm to respect someone, anybody, you've got to give me something to respect. And refs just don't do a very good job of getting their respect, do they?
I think 100% they should do what they do in rugby. They should have a microphone so they can talk to the whole crowd. I'm not a big rugby fan, but I think the referees are fantastic at that. And look at the size of the rugby boys compared to football boys. They properly respect the ref. They don't get in his face. Yeah,
that's true.
I think the way they do it, so the whole ground can hear, is a much better way of doing things. I think technology's here to stay. Unfortunately, you can't go back. But it's a horrible job right now. Horrible job they're doing. Right, this is touchy. This is a touchy subject. As I said, this is Spurs UnCensored. So this one, not many channels bring it up, and it might get WTP. What's happening? I think WTP might enjoy this. He's quite controversial himself to some people. Anyway, right. So
he's asking you how to get from Ireland to Great Britain.
Is that a joke? That's definitely a joke.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, I don't know where you're going with it, but Phil P, I'm sitting next to you tomorrow at the Chelsea game, I think. Is that why you're on? I'm sitting next to you with good old Barry, Nick, Ranjit, whatever you want to call him. So it should be a cracker, mate. It should be a cracker. So, yeah, women's versus men's analysis. Let me expand a little bit. So, in fact, I won't expand. I'll have my say in a minute. I'll ask Dan first of all. I'll ask Dan, what's your say on it? Because every male football game, there has to be a female ref. It's like a quota.
Okay. Right. What I'm going to do then is I'm going to ask you a question first. Do you want an honest answer, or do you just want an answer that should be an answer?
This is uncensored. We talk about what we want to talk about.
Right.
We talked about Rashford at the time. Everyone's like, Don't talk about Rashford. We talked about, look, we didn't get into the whole Israel thing. We talked about Solomon, but a lot of people didn't even talk about Solomon, the tweet he put out or the Insta.
Greenwood. Okay, I'll give you my honest answer.
Say it how it is. Say it how it is.
No, women, stay out of men's football. Stick with women's football. Let men play their football and deal with their stuff. Let women play football, deal with their stuff. Let trans men and trans women stay in their own football and everything and deal with their stuff. Keep each to their own, in my opinion, yeah? Because if you actually ever watch the women's games, like I have done once or twice, and I can't say I rate it, they don't like having men on there giving their piece about it and what's what. It likes to all be done by women as such. But these days, whenever it seems to be a man's game, and then you've always got to have some butch bird in there that seems to think it knows it all about everything. I don't like it. It just don't work for me. Yeah. Call me a sexist pig. Call me what you want. I don't care. But I'm allowed my opinion. Yeah. I say just keep men with men, women with women. Same as when you get the argument of women should get paid the same as men. No, they should not. They don't deserve it. Not until they can fill up a stadium of 75,000 people who will pay £100 a ticket, then they deserve the whole lot. Not that for them to fill up a 60,000 stadium, they have to pay £10 a ticket and then give away half the tickets. This is business, yeah? I just don't like the women getting involved in the man's game. Call me old-fashioned, call me what you want. And I don't agree with men getting involved in the women's game. Let the women get on with their stuff. Let the men get on with their stuff.
That's it. I mean, as long as it's the same on both sides, isn't it? It can't be sexist if you say it's the same on both sides. How is it sexist?
I mean, why have we got to have a woman lineswoman or what? Just let the women be with the women and let the men be with the men. Then you'll have no issues, no problems, whatever, and leave it at that. And then when it comes to the football itself, I can't say women's football interests me. Why? Because it's just not up to the same standards. Yes, they do very good for what women can do. But have you honestly ever seen a good woman goalkeeper? I can't say I have. I mean, I feel for her. She's got a lot more to carry when she dives usually. But I think everyone just got my point there. So she hasn't got the same that a man could. One thing I will give women's football is they do like to get stuck in a lot more. It's like they got a point to prove. They will break noses and carry on, whereas a man, he'll get a flick on the ear roll and he'll go down like a sack, like he's just been kicked up the balls. So I'll give them credit where it's due. But no, mate, for me, women's football, stay with women. Men's football, stay with men.
So I haven't been using forums over the last few years. I've just started recently up again. And I was having a conversation about this. It was a headline somebody else put out there. And this person put it very well. And I have to say, I agree with most of what this person said. So women's football has definitely got better. But for example, Alex Scott doesn't come up for air when she talks. And her knowledge is at best the same as a non-league male's knowledge. Women were very vocal on the fact that they didn't want to be compared to male footballers as they don't understand the difference in pace and skill, also physicality levels. So basically, you know, the males have a lot more physicality and skill, and the women were saying, well, you know, it's a different set of standards. So let the women commentate on the women's games. But it goes both ways, doesn't it? if you know, it's the same for returning and going to the men's games. You don't really know the physicality. So how can so this is what the person carries on. So how can a female footballer comment or examine the men's game when they've never been even close to that level? I am not being a sexist or male chauvinist. I'm simply stating the facts. This is the reason I don't want to watch the game analysis anymore, because they just babble a load of nonsense, and the pro footballers who work alongside them must be cringing. I will watch Match of the Day, yet, as they still haven't surrendered the influx of female pundits yet. I don't, because Gary Lineker's a prick. But it is simple. It's simple for me to stay in the women's game as if it's completely different to the men's game, or at the very least put a higher ratio of male pundits on the female game to counteract this ridiculous number of females in the men's game. It has become ridiculous and ruining the analysis. That's it.
Look, Tom, the fella, he's just took the words out of my mouth what I was going to say.
I knew WTB might be good for this. I know you might be good.
Mate, it's exactly what I was going to say. Look, when the World Cup winning champions was to get beaten by, if I've got it right, I don't think it was the under-15s that beat them. I think it was the under-13s that beat them. You might be right. Let's say under. I
think it was under the 15s, and also Wrexham's mid-40.
That's it. Yeah,
I think they were drunk in the first half and they won 6-1 or something, and they just cancelled the game against the greatest team in the world. It's like United States, the best team in the world, women's team.
They was at the time, yes, and so you can't. I'm sorry, you cannot compare it. There is just two total different quality and standards there. I mean, the best woman in the world probably wouldn't even make League Division 2. It sounds like
Serena Williams. You know, Serena Williams, the ex-tennis player, she won everything.
Yeah.
Even she said in the interview,
Yes.
Loads of people wanted Serena Williams to play Andy Murray, this, that, and the other. And she went, if I was a male, I wouldn't get in the top 1,000 tennis players. She said it herself. I would not get in it. And she won everything in tennis's game. And it's just the way it is. It's not sexist.
She was the Don. No, men and women are built different. Yeah, that is why you have man's sport, and that is why you have the woman's version. Why do you think so many women are now getting the ump with men, or sorry, trans women, if I got that right, all of a sudden swimming 10 seconds quicker than they can and lifting up?
That's a whole other debate. Me and Dan are considering making a political channel because we need to
no, but to me, when you talk about man and woman with everything, for me, that just about smashes it all. Yeah, it basically describes what it is. Women and men in sport are a no-go. Women do their stuff, we do our stuff. There are reasons for it. And physicality is one of the main reasons. And also, like you say, it's just, we don't get a choice in the matter. We have to have that woman commentator there, otherwise we get called a sexist pig. I mean, I'm probably going to get slammed on YouTube for this, whatever, and that. I don't.
You won't. There's only 13 people watching. If it was on a bigger channel, maybe.
I could not care less. I'll preach this out with anybody you want on this planet. I don't care. I'm allowed my opinion, yeah? But men get told to stay out of women's football. Like, no, they didn't like it when they had a man manager there, did they? And everything and that. With Phil, what was it? Phil Neville was doing it or whatever. They get all shirty and everything about a man getting involved in the commentary or whatever on a woman's game. Well, fine, fair enough. I agree. Then stay out of man's football as well.
There are far more women pundits on male games than there is the other way around. That's for sure. And who gets paid more? Who's going to get paid? Are you going to get paid more to commentate on WSL or the Premier League? It's going to 100% be the Premier League, isn't it?
Oh, totally. But it's that you're back to that point again of they're not there because they're good at it.
Of course, it's identity politics. It is. It's 100%. It's identity politics.
There you go. So no, leave the men with the men, leave the women with the women, and I'll be fine with that. But
and this is the issue. This is the issue. This is the issue. People say, right? It's sexist. Or if you have to have a certain amount of races, like a certain amount of races on a game, which seems to be the case these days. For me, it takes the piss out of the races or the sex. It takes the piss out of the races and the sex, basically saying we have to put you on. You might not be good enough, but we have to put you on because of this reason. And ultimately, it's racist because they're going to have a book saying, right, who's this race fella or girl that we have to put on? Who is the girl that we have to put on? And they're going to have 4 boxes. So it's literally sexist to do that. They're not picking the best. They're picking people based on their sex, identity politics. And that's not the way it should be. Look, I agree with all of it, but look, there are some fantastic girl pundits. I think Sue Smith on Gillette Soccer Saturday, she's very good. Very, very good. Much better than Paul Merson and Clinton Morrison, I have to say, on Gillette Soccer Saturday. Paul Merson reminds me of an Aggie Joe Biden, and Morrison sounds like a fucking pimp. He sounds like a pimp on a bender, Clinton Morrison. Like, yeah. So there are actually some good commentators. I'll tell you now, Chelsea's legendary manager, Emma Hayes, was brilliant at the Euros a couple of years back. She was fantastic. Her analysis of the men's Euros was very good. So some of the women have got fantastic footballing brains, but I think you should stay to your sex. You know, you should stick with your sex.
Look, mate, even when I play FIFA, it pisses me off when I got a woman doing the commentary on there. I don't want to hear a woman doing the commentary on there. Again, call me sexist, whatever. Women stick with women, men stick with men. We're all happy. That's the way I see that one. Then no one can complain about nothing. No one can say that anything is being biased, whatever. Just keep women with women and men with men. And then anyone else, whoever they want to be, keep lampposts with lampposts and dragons with dragons, whatever they want to be, yeah? It seems it's an open world these days. Just keep each to their own, and that's that. But that's
I
how
don't give a shit. I don't give a shit. We've only got 15 people watching, and I tell you what, I've looked at the YouTube algorithms, and 99% of our viewers are male. So I don't give a shit. Especially if you're young female as well, because we don't get any young people watching the show either, apparently. So if you're less than 30 and a female, don't give a shit. Don't watch this anyway. Right, right, okay. 43 minutes in. As I said, we've got 15 people watching. Please, please smash a like and subscribe. My girlfriend's just walked in and gone sexist pig and took my dinner took my food.
Yeah. I'm being looked at through the door as well, mate.
I'm not going to say where women belong. I'm not going to say that, but she has just taken my food out. Anyway, right. Brennan Johnson versus Richarlison. Yeah, this is for tomorrow night. Will Ritchie start in his place, Dan? Because he's pretty much, I think he started every game, hasn't he? He might have missed one game. Yeah, I think one game Brennan Johnson started. So, yeah, will Ritchie start tomorrow? I guess there's other options other than Ritchie not starting. You got Brian Gill. People have been talking about putting Son on the left, back on the left, Veliz up top. But I guess the most obvious one, if you're going to take Richarlison out, it would be to put Brennan Johnson in. How do you see that whole situation?
Look, does it really matter if we go and stick Mickey Mouse there? It ain't going to do any worse. Now, one thing I will try and do is give a bit of credit where it's due. When it comes to getting back and trying to defend, Richarlison seems to do better than when he goes forward and tries to attack. I don't know. Either way, just get that man off the pitch. Even if Johnson is only fit for 70 minutes, whatever, 60 minutes, get him on for 60 minutes. Then if the shit hits the fan, then and he has to come on, bring on Richarlison. But again, I'd rather give Brian Gill a go. I'd rather give someone a go. I'd rather give an under-21s a go. I just want Richarlison out of this club. I think he is that bad. Okay, people say he's had, 4 assists and a goal this year or something. I don't care. He's crap. He's not a good player. And I bet you Everton were laughing all the way to the bank when we gave them 65 million.
Do you know what? I think he was a very good player. I think he was a key player for them, but that's the level. It's like bottom 5, bottom 10. Richarlison was all right, you know?
Look, the only transfer that has been as bad as Richarlison is again by Spurs, and that is Ndombele. And if anything, do you know what? He's been worse than Richarlison. That's the only one that I can say is worse. The only other one that I can think of recent times, which is on the same standard as Richarlison, is Havertz for Arsenal. I mean, why they went and spent 65 million on that tool, I'll never know. But for me, Richarlison is a no-go. You just don't play that man unless you've got no other options. I think
Havertz lives on his name in Leverkusen because he was good for Leverkusen, and he lives for the fact that he scored the Champions League winning goal for Chelsea, didn't he? Whenever Havertz's name comes up, he's like, "Well, he scored the winning goal for Champions League in the Champions League for Arsenal, like for Chelsea back in the day." That's not £65 million. I don't give a fuck about that. Don't mean nothing to me. Origi scored the winning goal against us in the Champions League final. He's not worth £65 million, is he?
No, but I can agree with this. If Ritchie starts, you have to start questioning Ange. For me, that depends whether Johnson's fit or not. If Johnson's 100% fit and he starts with Richarlison, I've got to ask questions. Like, mate, I know people get to see what we don't and everything, but we still get to see where it matters, and that is the 90 minutes on the pitch. And Richarlison is shit. So I don't care if he's good at if he's good in practice, if he's good at training and that. If he can't do it on the pitch, what does it matter? Everyone said that Ndombele used to smash it in training, even though he never used to do physical stuff really. But when it comes to passing, this, that, and everything, he absolutely killed it. But when it came on the pitch, he might as well have killed himself. That's how good he was. He was absolutely useless. he was like a body there. He just should not be on this pitch.
I'm with you. I would be surprised. I'll be very surprised if Johnson's fit and he doesn't start. He made a huge impact the other day when he came on too. So, you know, left wing, Richarlison, it's fair to say, he's much more experienced, played there for the best part of 4 years for Everton. And he did have a couple of seasons where he ended up with 13 goals, which is decent for a left winger. 13 goals is okay. And the biggest problem is Brennan Johnson. The one position he's never played in the front three, the forward line, is on the left. So that goes against him too. But I think 22 years old, fast, good feet, Brennan Johnson. He's more than able to adapt to the left wing and young enough. That's why I mentioned the 22 years of age. We cannot keep relying on Son's goals. We can't. We literally can't, because he's going away for the Asian Cup in January. He's going away for the Asian Cup. So we cannot rely on him. We do need players that are going to start scoring outside of Son. And I think Brennan Johnson on the left. Ritchie can't finish his dinner. Ritchie cannot finish his dinner. When it comes to in front of goal right now, he's just a lost man. It's Rosie into Rosie every shot, or miles wide. If Johnson is 80% fit, I'd start him. Honestly, it's such a massive game tomorrow.
I totally agree.
Daigle, how you doing, man?
I think Brian is just absolutely got it right with that one. Yeah. If this is his chance, it is going to be his last chance, because how many more chances can my man get? Brian is 100% right with this one, but I don't even think he should be on there. I'll just say keep him out. I just hope he is right with this and Johnson will start.
What do you make of the whole? What do you make of maybe Gill starting? Would you start Gill in front of Richarlison, because he's fully fit now apparently?
I would. That's just it. That is how bad I think Richarlison is. I think Richarlison just needs to go. Full stop. The only way I see Richarlison on there is when you're in dire straits, basically, and there is no one left to put there. I just think the man is that poor. But again, I suppose it's each their own at the end of the day. Some people still try and argue with me that they see class in him and he could be good and everything. Yeah, okay. We all know what happened to Cook, don't we? He's got to go, mate. How many times do you want me to say it? He's got to go. If we sell him in January for 10 million, I'll be happy. Put it that way.
It's an emotional subject for some people. We should get in Jota along with Williams. Two wingers we've looked at in the summer. I think Williams is in the final year of his contract at Atletico Bilbao. He's got 4 goals and 3 assists. In recent past, he's rated so highly, this Williams at Atletico Bilbao. And I looked him up, and his contract is definitely running out in the summer. So we can sign him on a pre-contract this January and pick him up on a free. Or we can do what Inter done with Eriksen, where Eriksen's contract was coming to an end in the summer. They threw us £10 million and we got him early. You could do that. And for me, he can play on both sides as well, Nico Williams. So he's a very, very good player. Tommy, did you see Arsenal under-21s went to Bournemouth instead to Brighton? No, I didn't see that. Was that like a bus issue or something? Because they're both down south. That is amateur, if that is the case. I haven't heard of that one. Tommy, stay safe tomorrow, just in case Ritchie tries to smash one in Rosie. I'm in the south stand. So there's every chance that could happen. I'm not sure what side of the south stand. If I'm on the right, obviously, Ritchie will be on the left if he starts. Now, I think whatever happens, Richarlison will play if he's fit. Because Brennan Johnson not being fit, if he starts, you'd have to take him off at some point. Williams has 4 goals and 3 assists in 11 games. Tommy, his goal ratio has always been great. I remember back 2 years ago, he was linked with Man United for like 80, 90 million pounds. So the guy's a baller. He's got a big reputation. I don't know if he plays more on the right or the left. I'm not a big La Liga fan, so I couldn't tell you. But I know he's a very highly reputed winger, which means other clubs are going to be looking at him too. Under 18s got smashed 5-2 by Palace yesterday, so that I'm guessing we're not top of the table now. In 50, Brian, the problem is we could get. Brian's a good man. We've got Daigle potentially coming on, but we are about to finish the show. We ain't got much.
All right. But come on, man. There's plenty to go with on here.
But we can go, because Mr. Daigle is willing to come on. He's been in the chat already. He knows what he's talking about. So we could go through.
I'd love to hear I want to hear his opinion on Ritchie.
I want to hear his opinion on men versus women analysis, because a lot of people will take it on. I want to see what Daigle's got to say. Let's see if Daigle will take it.
That would be an interesting one.
But you know what? I've got a couple of visuals up now. I'm blowing my own trumpet here because I put this out earlier or last night. So Harry Kane, 15 goals in 10 league games, a record in the Bundesliga, 3 hat-tricks, including one at Dortmund, 9 assists. Spurs finished 6th, 7th, 4th and 8th. The previous 4 seasons, Spurs had the best striker in the world and didn't build. Levy needs to build in January. Would you agree with that? I got some flack for that message, Dan, believe it or not. I got some flack saying we need to move on, we need to move on. I'm not saying we need Kane back. I'm saying we need to do our due diligence this time round and not make the same errors as before.
Exactly. And that's exactly true. Now, look, I'm going to have to sort of... I've been one of the main ones from day one that said Kane out, yeah? Let him go and we need to rebuild, basically, without Harry Kane. And without Harry Kane, I feel we do play better as a team, and I feel we will play better as a team without Harry Kane because we can't just focus on Harry Kane. Now, would he suit this style of play and whatever? I don't think he'd be so happy with getting to the halfway line than having to sprint up every time. I don't think he's got the pace to do it every time. But after watching that game with Munich and Dortmund last night, I can't help but think, even my wife said it to me, even though you're so much that we play better without Harry Kane and you don't want the world focusing on Harry Kane. No, I don't. She said, wouldn't you have loved to see Son on the left, Kane in the middle, Kulusevski on the right, with Maddison behind him? And after watching what he did to Dortmund last night, I'm like, it's starting to catch me on a bit of a catch-22. I still think we will be better as a whole without Harry Kane. We have to be. We've got no option. We can't just rely on the one person. It's always.
This is why I got emotional in certain streams when we're saying Harry Kane, you know. But I do understand it. You know, we'll be better off without Harry Kane. I'm like, him and Maddison would be a dream. The problem is, and I get this, that Son wouldn't be up front and he'd have to go back to the left. But also, Son would have a better left back behind him than he did last season, and he'd have a better cam with Maddison. So
it's very true. It's very true. It's very
but
true.
I also understand. I also 100% understand that
there we go. We have
would
a
be
guess.
Harry Kane season, wouldn't it? It would be.
All right, now we doing.
Big up, right? Oh, are you getting ready for the? Are they playing tonight? They already played the Saints.
So they're playing. They have 1 minute 13 seconds left, and we're beating the Chicago Bears. So it's all good. It's all good.
The Bears are my team, man. The Soldier Field. I nearly went to a game when I went to America, Soldier Field, and I was going to go. Chicago, stunning. So that's my team. That's my team.
You're a Bears fan.
Yeah, I'm not big. I'm not big on American football, but is that Drew Brees? Are you a Drew Brees lover?
Well, it's the last time we had a decent quarterback. Our quarterbacks at the moment are absolutely shocking. But we're getting the job done in this game. Oh, for the last 2 years, our quarterbacks have been absolutely woeful.
Right, Brian, I probably wasn't here for the first, the first half an hour or so, and we were talking about Bentancur versus Bissouma. I mean, keep it simple. Who do you think is the better player? Who do you think is the better player?
They're both. Listen, they're both very, very different. They're both different. I think the dream is to see him together. They're both of them together with Maddison. For me, that's as much as I love Pape Matar, that three with them two with Maddison, QB, is what we've been waiting to see. It's what we wanted to see last season under Conte, but never got the chance to because obviously Conte wouldn't play Bissouma. Once Bentancur is up to par and back at full fitness, and let's say that comes whilst Bissouma's away with Marley. Big up, Mark, brother. And when they come back, this could be it. What? How good is it to have that discussion, though?
It's magnificent because, to be fair, I said before the season, one place we do have depth, we don't have much, is centre midfield. If even Højbjerg and Skip, for now, is okay. You look at the centre mids that can come in, and then you look at the centre backs that can come in.
Exactly.
It's shocking.
I mean, I can agree with what's just been said on here. I think Bissouma is more forward, whereas Bentancur is more defensive, but both are very skilled on the ball. I definitely say Bentancur is more skilled.
But Bentancur gives you goals, brother. Bissouma doesn't.
That's
Yeah,
I
but look,
disagree. I
Bentancur-
think it's the other way around. I think Bentancur can be more creative, and Bissouma is really good at tackling when the opposition have it in your final third. So I
It
think
is a
they're
tricky
both
one.
similar, but they're both similar.
Different.
They're both the same, but not too similar where they can work together. Like Brian said, I think they could be unbelievable together.
I think they're both good enough at what they do for one to sit back while the other goes forward, and then the other sit back while the other goes forward. I think they're very good to play off each other. As a box-to-box man, as a heartbeat for a team, I go for Bissouma all day long, if it was one or the other. Because I think Basouma's just got more overall in him, and he's definitely got better stamina.
The issue is...
But them two together, playing that way, with Maddison in front of them, call that three as your triangle, as your straight line, as your back triangle, whatever people want to call it. Yeah, you got your three midfielders there. You got Bissouma, Bentancur, Maddison, whatever way you want to put it. There ain't going to be much more dangerous in the Premiership.
And I think neutral fans that watch Serie A and Premier League, they're the only two leagues I watch, to be honest with you. But Championship as well sometimes. I don't know anything about La Liga, Bundesliga, Liga, Eredivisie, Portuguese League. Would say that is some quartet, because if you've been watching Premier League enough, you know about Bissouma and Maddison, and then Bentancur was first team for Juventus all the time up until his last 6 months, as me and Dan were saying earlier.
What was it? Nearly 4 years he was there, wasn't he?
He won Serie A titles. Uruguay's got like 60 caps by the time he was. By the time he moved when he was 25. So he's a highly reputed player in Europe, Bentancur, and that three-pronged centre midfield could be great. The issue is, if you carry on winning, you can't really drop Sarr, can you? Can you drop Sarr?
Right now you can't. Right now, like if I see Bentancur starting instead of Sarr tomorrow, I'm going to be disappointed. Really disappointed, because Pape Matar Sarr is at full tilt, 100% match fitness, ready to rock and roll. That understanding of that three has been brilliant. And right now, for the first time in such a long time, if this was under Conte, if this was under Jose, if this was under Nuno, if this was under Poch, as soon as a key player was fit, in you go. There's no easing you in. There's no getting it back to match fitness. This is a serious injury. And for once, we have the luxury of saying, do you know what, Bentancur? We need you firing in January when these two go. So we can just literally ease you in, whether it be a few more minutes each game, whether it be comes on at half, whatever they think, but there is no rush to risk such an... We just need to ease him in.
And there's that other saying as well. Why mess with something that isn't broken?
Correct.
It's not broken at the moment. So what do we really have to fix? I totally agree with you on what you've said, Brian, there, and what Tom said earlier, and that. I think we've got to milk him into it a little bit. 10 minutes here, 15 minutes there, 20 minutes if it comes to it, whatever. But get him up and ready for December, mid-December, start of January, because that is when we are going to need this man more than ever. And that is what I think we should do. And at the moment, Sarr's been good. Yeah, all right. He's had his moments, haven't we all? But why mess with something that isn't broken at the moment?
Do you know what I see in Sarr? I see in one of my favourite and most underrated Premier League players, in Kante.
Mate, that's the thing. Toure,
never sweat.
Kante,
I never see that boy sweat. And Sarr, he just you can get 90 minutes out of him with ease every game, even at his age. The issue is he put Bentancur in, and then you've got the 21-year-old on the bench for a long time, because you're not got Champions League, you haven't got Europe.
But
for the rest of the season. So
from what Ange says, Sarr is meant to be quite universal. They're still trying to work out themselves whether he's a 10, an 8, or a 6. Now, me and you both said, don't know what you think of this one, Brian. We don't quite think he's a number 10, yeah? But as an 8 or 6, Sarr looks more than capable. And then once you've got someone with that versatility sitting on the bench as such, you've then got someone who can come on and cover Bissouma or Bentancur quite easily. Or you can spin it whatever way. Or Sarr starts, and then you've got someone who can cover again with Bentancur. You've got someone who can come on and cover Sarr or Bissouma, who we use to cover Maddison. Is all different opinions. Everyone knows I would use Kulusevski for that one. But again, and Bissouma as well, you can say he's quite versatile. He can play as a 6 or an 8. So with them three, they can all cover each other when needs be, as such. Do you get where I'm coming from?
This is true. Last season, Bentancur and Højbjerg had a great relationship last season until he got injured. Yeah, we're in around the top four until Bentancur got injured. I think Biss and Sarr will start, and Højbjerg and Bentancur will come on late to close that game. Tomorrow, definitely. I think that will 100% be the case tomorrow against Chelsea. If we're winning, I don't know if we'll risk Bentancur. I think it's more if we're losing and we need a little bit of creativity in centre midfield. Maybe then we'll put Bentancur in.
Tommy, there's no doubt whatsoever Bentancur, even if it's like Palace comes on at the last minute tomorrow just to get a standing ovation from the Spurs fans or to kill time, there is no doubt Bentancur features at some point tomorrow.
Oh, he did come on against Palace, didn't he, for the last minute?
Yeah,
that's what they could do.
Yeah.
You imagine, like you saw, the crowd, as soon as they saw him warming up, went mad and started singing his song. They're going to want to see him. So I've got no doubt he'll come on at some point. But like you said, if we're winning, there's no need to do it till like the last minute. You know, like when they do it when a player's retiring and they bring him off in like the 88th minute to get that standing ovation. Same thing applies for bringing him on. It's just another feel-good factor, another buzz moment to get to G the fans up. So I can see him making some kind of it. Cameo tomorrow.
Right.
I can't see why not. I think they could definitely do that for either reason. For maybe we might need him for the last 10 minutes, or even if we brought him on with 5 minutes to go, just to kill a bit of time and get a bit of a clap for my man to say like he's on his way, sort of thing. So I definitely agree with Brian in that. I do think we are going to see him at some stage in that game tomorrow.
Right. We haven't got long to go on the stream today. I'm looking at it and it says 21 likes, but then it also says we started 5 hours ago. And
what's that all about? I saw that and I saw 5 hours ago. I was like, bloody hell, you're on a mammoth stream.
We started an hour ago, tops. Like we started at 8, so we haven't been on too long. We haven't been on too long. We might be doing a late morning show tomorrow, so we're not going to do a long one tonight. And I might just have time to catch the last few fireworks because they've come on late today where we are.
I forgot,
Yeah, so that should be interesting. Magic Madison in the chat with a Leicester shirt. Are you like one of those fans that just follows the player? Like you got Jose Mourinho follows you got Jose Mourinho followers. Like wherever he goes, you know, they follow. So all the Jose Mourinho fans are at Roma. They were with us at one stage. Are you one of them, Magic Madison? You've got Alex Scott experience as well. Same thing. He went to Bournemouth, didn't he? I think he got injured actually on the weekend.
He is a Spurs fan. He's a diehard Spurs fan. He's just obsessed with Alex Scott.
He might be.
That
could be what it is. That could be Alex Scott.
I think we should have gone for him personally.
Yeah.
I mean, he wouldn't have cost much. He's one. I think we should have snapped him straight up.
He's the most versatile centre mid there is. From what
he picked up another injury yesterday, though, didn't he? He's looking like, unfortunately, at a young age, that knee is looking like a problem.
Yeah, he got a big injury, didn't he? I think it's a big one. I think it could be like ACL or something like that. So he was 6, 8, and 10, and he was doing brilliantly in all positions for Bristol City. So young, homegrown boy. Yeah, hopefully we don't regret that. He's only like £15 million as well, which is crazy. Right, one visual I want to put up. This is quite interesting. This was the Leeds press put this out. I had a quick snippet of this. Leeds fans need to make a human wall around the city and not let Joe Rodon leave until he has signed a permanent contract with the club. The man has transformed our defence and improved all the players around him. So Dan, what have you made of Rodon? He's been 2.5 years. Nearly 3 years at Spurs, loan deals in between. Have you ever rated Rodon?
I can't say he's ever done anything to notice. I don't actually think he's ever been that bad as such. He ain't been no Eric Dyer or whatever. I mean, if you look at who he's had playing next to him at times, he hasn't exactly had a good option of people next to him. But I definitely do not think he's going to come out like we loan him up for a bit, like he's going to come back as a Saliba either, you know. For me, he's another one that it didn't work. If Leeds want him for 10 million, there you go, mate, have him, and I'll give you a present with him as well, sort of thing. Because he's another one that I think he isn't up to the standards that we want to be. It would be like getting another. I get that you have a player in there as backup, whatever else, but we need our backup to be better, so it's not such a drop from the first to the next. We need our backup, our subs bench, to be able to fight for a place in that first 11 if we actually want to go somewhere. And no, I don't think Rodon, for me, let him go. If they're willing to offer 10 mil for him, baked potato, mate. See you later.
I'm going to put, that's a good question to put forward to Brian in this situation. I mean, would you put him in front of Dyer? Roll on.
Listen, what I will say, I've got a very, very good friend of mine. I mean, a real tight friend of mine that's a Leeds fan. And when we sent him out on loan, I was like, enjoy. He'll probably do well for you, but and he's messaging me every week saying exactly what that kind of tweet said. You look at it now. It's not even a case of would I have him for Dyer. What I've loved with what we have done with this window is there's always been a few roadblocks to stop progression of the youth team coming through. Whereas right now, yes, we need another centre back. There's no denying it. It's my number one want in the window. But you've got Alfie Dorrington, and most importantly, someone I've been waxing lyrical about, Ashley Phillips. There's an actual pathway. They're younger. I think Ashley Phillips, I've said it, but I forgot about certain people in the team, like Van der Ven. I did a tweet when we signed him saying the year's 2028-29 season, and Ashley Phillips is wearing the captain's armband for Tottenham. Not thinking about Mickey still being there or whatever. Ashley Phillips is going to be a player and a half. And Joe Rodon, what people forget is under Jose Mourinho, before he got the sack, for the final month and a half, Joe Rodon was our best defender by a mile. By a mile. But right now,
Dyer was dropped. I remember Dyer was dropped completely for the last 6 weeks there.
Yeah, and Rodon came in and did a good job. But you look at it now, Joe Rodon, you're simply not going to get in. No defender's going to get in. If Mickey and Romero are fit, Ricky and Romero are fit. And I'd rather spend the time. Yes, we get another centre back in, but there's the basis with Dorrington and Phillips who are playing together with England as well, and at the same age group to build up a real understanding and a real bond. So it's all good for Rodon. I hope he gets to resurrect his career. Listen, he came as a cheap option because we wanted Skriniar. So we can't really fault him for not. We wanted a top defender. We got Rodon.
Do you know the wages we gave him as well, Rodon? It was ridiculous.
Of course.
$9,000 a week.
I was about to say 10. There you go, even worse.
But look, I'm not going to refuse $10,000 a week. But if you sign for £89 million, you should be on more than $9,000 a week in the Premier League, shouldn't you?
Mate, put it this way: we gave Cameron Carter-Vickers, who didn't make a single Premier League appearance for us. He got paid in wages over £7 million by Tottenham Hotspur for not even making a Premiership appearance. So you look at it, and that's money down the drain. Rodon, listen, the deal hasn't worked out. He's loving it up in Leeds. Leeds are loving him. Let's hope in January something could be arranged and it becomes permanent.
But do you know what it is? Do you know what it is? There's an optional fee. There's an optional fee. We do it with a lot of players that are sort of on the fence at Spurs or not, and it makes sense. Optional fee for a player. If he does well, then they'll snap him up. This is why I look on Twitter and I look on X and people are saying, we need to recall him. We need to bring him back if he's doing so well at Leeds. You don't have that option. You can't just bring a player back all the time. So there's an optional fee. If we take it up and Rodon decides to go, then it'll be at Leeds. And I'm sure he will, because he just wants first team football. And Leeds will almost certainly be back in the Premier League. I'd understand. I'd be surprised if they're not back in the Premier League. Them and Leicester, who have another ex-Spurs player who's actually an ex-Spurs player, is doing very well. Harry Winks. Extremely well for Leicester. But I think that's what they are. I think they're high championship players, bottom half Premier League players. So I'm not going to lose any sleep if we sell Rodon. Certainly not, even if he is lifting up trees at Leeds, in all honesty. Fair play to both. I'd take Rodon over Dyer any day of the week, but I'd take Brian Daigle and Dan over Dyer.
Exactly.
You
might be good footballers. You might be good footballers back in the day, but
well, mate, I was left-footed, or I still am if I ever play football. So I could have played left centre back, but yeah, at the ripe old age of 44. I think I'd fail all sorts of medicals.
I'd still take you. Even if you were in a wheelchair, I'd still take you.
You know what I mean? It's like I've said, we all get to be what we want and everything and that. And like I keep saying, we could have someone out there who decides to be a lamppost for a day and they'd be a better defender than Eric Dyer. All right, mate, you beat the lamppost. Just stay there and I'm sure you'll get in the way of the ball now and again. Whereas Dyer...
I'm sure I would.
I'll say it straight. Eric Dyer is just a fucking liability, mate. End of.
Right.
he's up there with Richarlison. Them two, mate. Just bang, go away, please.
Right. What I'm going to do now is, before we go, I'm going to get like Chelsea predicted results from the boys on the panel just now in the chat. give me some predictions as well. I want to know what your predictions are for tomorrow night. It's my first game of the season. I can't wait. Right, let's see yesterday's results. I just want to go over yesterday's results quickly because I'll tell you what, it was a great day. Great weekend for Spurs, you could say.
It's been nearly a perfect weekend for us, nearly. As long as we win, it couldn't have gone much better.
I honestly thought, before I went out with the fireworks with the kids, I thought Luton beat Liverpool because I saw the full-time whistle as well. Didn't realise it was 1-1. I missed the Diaz goal. So it would have been even better, but still, Luton taking 2 points away from Liverpool is great. But look, I mean, obviously, Newcastle beating Arsenal. We're the only unbeaten side in the league. Nottingham Forest beating Villa. I think Villa had the best transfer window in the league. I really do rate Villa. We haven't played them yet. It's going to be a big game.
I can agree.
Brighton even dropping points. I mean, come at the end of the season, we could be competing with Brighton. They're still a very good team. So, yeah, some big results.
I don't think Brighton ain't looking as good as they did last season.
Definitely not.
I don't think they are. Don't get me wrong, Brighton's still good, but I don't think they look like they did last season. Last season, people was actually wary of Brighton, like proper, like shit. We got Brighton next. This season, I don't think they're quite as much of an animosity as they were last season, if that's the way to put it. Because last season, people were wary of them, scared of them even. This season, yeah, you got to watch them, but I don't think people are quite as hung up that they got to play them, sort of thing.
This is mad. We're not the only cheapskates in the league. £2,500 a week. That's crazy. But it is Bournemouth. They don't have the highest match day income, the highest season ticket prices.
Mate, put it this way. Bournemouth Stadium, their entire capacity is less than our South Stand.
Yeah, there you go. That's
how ridiculous it is.
He's got a good alpha.
No, put the next one up. Put the next one up.
I was just about to say.
Tommy would be the guy that puts out the cones. What's that mean? What's that mean?
Means you'd be the trainer.
Okay. Oh, that's good. I thought he was being a bit muggy here, Alex. But I'll let you off. I'll let you off. Okay, putting out the cones, fair enough. If you put collecting the cones, that would be different. I suppose that would be slightly different. Or the water boy.
Or being the cone.
Yeah, Tommy would be the cone.
That one, I just employ Eric Dyer.
That's a critique. I think, Dan might be this sort of Joe-Kinnear type manager, alpha male. Another ex-Spurs legend, Joe-Kinnear.
Correct.
Bit before my time. So, as I said, predictions for tomorrow night, Dan. Spurs-Chelsea, we're the only unbeaten team in the league. If we win the top, any other result, we're second.
I think tomorrow is going to be a very, very messy game. Yeah, I think you're going to see a bit of everything in it. I think you're going to see skill. I think you're going to see class. I think you're going to see aggression. I think you're going to see violence. I think you're going to see bitchiness. I think you're going to see everything in tomorrow. There's reasons for it. Spurs are a win off being at the top and another win or even a draw off being undefeated. Postecoglou, everything's going cushy at the minute. Now, on the other side, everybody wants Tottenham to get knocked off that unbeaten side because everybody has been beaten now. Now, everyone is going to be supporting Chelsea tomorrow. Everyone, because they just want to see Spurs get beaten. But Chelsea are usually tenfold better than what we are. They usually tear us down a new pair of trousers every time we see it, and we walk off like John Wayne. 9 times out of 10, that's the way it is with them. They need to up their gear big time. Pochettino's return to Spurs. Is he going to get grilled? Ain't he going to get grilled? No matter what happens, tomorrow is going to have a lot. It's going to come from all angles tomorrow. I personally think we're going to do them 3-1, and I think there will be a red card somewhere. Whether it's on their side or our side, I don't know. But I think it's going to be 3-1. Reason being, up front, they are just absolutely shocking. Totally terrible.
They missed a massive trick. Not signing Osherman in the summer. I think they will.
No, you wait until they got Nkunku back. Wait until Nkunku comes back, and if they got the brain, they play him in the middle like he did at Bundesliga quite a few times, and then give him a couple of months to settle in. I know it'd be too late to save their season as such, but wait until next season. If that Nkunku's fit and they play him in the middle and that, he's going to be good.
He's a
Very
natural cam though. He can play up top. He's a natural cam. For now,
Yeah.
looking at this striker,
He's like
option, I'm playing in Kunku.
He's like a Son. Yeah, he's like a Son, basically. Son's a natural left and whatever, but he's easily translated to going into the striker. And he's probably
I'm telling you now, they are signing Osherman in January. Chelsea are
if they
guaranteed.
do
He's not staying in Napoli. They've completely the social media team have just fucked up Osherman behind the scenes. So Osherman will be leaving in January. I've got a funny feeling, and he is brutal. Osherman, that boy is a player. He's so good. You listen to Italian centre backs, and they go, "Do you know what? When he jumps up for a header, we don't even bother jumping. He's so good. We just fucking let him win the header." So he's a top boy. I hope Chelsea don't get him. I really, really hope Chelsea don't get him. But I've got a funny feeling they're going to get a big time striker in January. Crazy not to. But he won't play tomorrow. Won't play tomorrow, that's for sure.
Well, he's out until at least February, isn't he? They reckon January, February before he even sees a bit of ground again. But so with tomorrow, I think we're going to do him 3-1.
3-1
with a red card in there somewhere.
Dagonator, prediction, my friend.
So I've got 2, and it's solely because of this man is so important to us. If Destiny Udogie is fit, we win 3-0. If Destiny isn't fit, it's a hard-fought 2-1. He is so vital to everything, especially in an open game like Chelsea. If he is there, we win comfortably. If he's not, we win the hard way.
I can agree with that.
I think Udogie's been sensational. He has been sensational. We saw
Best left back in the league, Tommy. Best left back in the league by far.
I said this a few games ago to people. Sorry to interrupt you. I said this a couple of a good 3-4 weeks ago to a couple of people. Everybody told me I'm crazy. Need to wake up and that. By the end of this season, mark my words, Udogie, if he's not the best left back in the Premiership, he will be the most wanted left back in the Premiership. This man is going to go miles, mate. I watched him play at Udinese quite a few times last season. I like Serie A. Inter is my team out there. Everybody knows it. But because I knew he was coming to Spurs, I watched this man. This man...
Exactly the same.
I can't say
Udinese games, even as a Serie A.
Defending isn't even...
Season, he's going to be this, he's going to be that.
Defending isn't even his strongest point.
Unbelievable attacking-wise.
Tommy, I'll tell you something now. You're going to, you said your first game. I had the pleasure of watching him at Burnley. I went up to the Burnley 5-2, and I was at the NLD at the Filth. Even though he picked up a yellow card and was shaky at the beginning, when you watch him live and see the ground he covers off, obviously when the camera's on, there's so many people say you have to see it to be believed. You can see what he does when you're watching it on TV. When you see the size of him as a 20-year-old and what he does off the ball and his movement and his power and his pace and his you come away going, my God, he's incredible. He is against Burnley. You got to remember, against Burnley, he set up James Maddison's goal because he pressed up high. Sheffield United, the 2-1 win. We got that winning goal. Why? Because Destiny pressed high. I've never seen a left back like him pressing so high. Not only pressing so high, but winning it by pressing it so high and being able to distribute the ball once he's got it. He is magnificent.
Watch, and to get as left back in Italy in their first team when you are only 20 is telling you something. Because
to be fair, he has only played one game. But it is,
Well, he's got to start somewhere, hasn't he, at 20 years old? What are you expecting? Gianluigi Buffon with 176 caps at 20.
Yeah, and then look who they've got on their left backs. They've got a few choices on there, especially, what's his name? Is it Pellegrini? No, the one at Roma who plays left back, who was at Juventus.
Oh, Spinazzola. But yeah, I think he's...
Yeah, Spinazzola, but he gets a bit injured too much.
Udogie's
a very good... Udogie, whatever they want to call him, yeah. I watched him at Udinese last year, mate. Trust me, this player ain't even started yet. And defending is actually his weakest point, and he's actually good at it compared to most. Tell me a better left back right now in the Premiership.
You can't.
No way.
I think Robertson's I do rate Robertson highly. I rate Robertson very highly.
But he has not had a better season than Udogie so far.
Not so far, but look, it's still very, very early days. Don't get me wrong. The arc of Udogie looks magnificent if he carries on the way he is. But he's had his dodgy games, especially with the yellow cards. What's the most impressive thing about him? When he's picked up those yellow cards, He hasn't been
He gets better.
going into challenges. He's become better. His defending gets better, which you haven't seen from many footballers, not just his age, like more experienced players. So no, he's got an arc on him. It could be fantastic. The guy could be magnificent, and he has been so far. Another thing is his engine. He's probably got to slow down a little bit because he got subbed off. He was burnt out, wasn't he? And then he didn't play the next game. So he's got to be, keep enough energy in the tank, keep enough fuel in the tank. But the first signs look unbelievable. I'm looking at Alex Scott. I think whoever put it in has got it wrong because Alex Scott was on £2,500 July 25th. By 10th of August, he's on 35k. July 25th is still playing for Bristol City. So Bristol City is at 25 grand. It doesn't matter. We missed out on a good player at the end of the day with Alex Scott. He's a top player. What was your prediction, Brian?
Like I said, if Destiny plays 3-0, if Destiny doesn't play 2-1.
I'm not negative usually with predictions. I'm not. I've been positive, especially positive the last 4 weeks, 6 weeks. I've never even predicted a draw. I've got a bad feeling about tomorrow. I don't know what it is. I just got a bad feeling. I don't know whether it's Chelsea. I don't know whether it's me going to Spurs games. Usually doesn't end too great, especially Spurs Chelsea.
Spurs and Chelsea.
Chelsea and Spurs. I think it's gonna be 1-1. Might even lose it.
1-1. There's draw. But I'll tell you what, and I've been saying this. I don't know how you and Dan feel about this. I think this is the first time in I can't remember where pound for pound in every position. Like when I say position, I mean defence, midfield, attack, and obviously goalkeeper. We're stronger collectively in every single department. Forget the individual talents that Chelsea may have. Goalkeeper to goalkeeper, it's not even a discussion.
Nope.
Defence, right now, they're all over the place. We're quite solid. Midfield, we're solid. They're, God knows. An attack, all right, we're relying on Son a lot, but we're a lot more productive with Son. I can't see an area where they're actually stronger than us. But when I say that, I'm not talking player against player. I'm talking defence, midfield, attack, goalkeeper. I think for the first time, and I can't even remember when, we're stronger in every department.
I think their best strength is centre midfield. It's our best strength as well. I rate Gallagher, Enzo Fernandez.
I was about to say Gallagher. I think has been their best player all season.
Since Palmer's came in, he's looked top quality. And in the months and years, probably Sassedo's going to make it as well. So there is a centre midfield there for Chelsea. Everywhere else, I don't really rate Chelsea at all. And we should pick up the 3 points. I just got a bad feeling. They're like a bogey team, aren't they? So
they are without a doubt. But
I say 1-1. But I'm not going to lie. If my life depended on it, I got a feeling Chelsea might pick up the points tomorrow. I don't know what it is. I'm predicting 1-1 though. Put it this
way: if we lose, you can't go to another game this season. Period.
I only go to 2 games a season now anyway. It's only the real big game. So
but you can't go to the second one if lose.
There's something on it, I'm not going.
You're on a ban. We'll ban you.
Right. I think we'll end it there. Thanks to the people that watched. I know it's unbelievably dynamic tonight. Every Tom, Dick and Harry stream is live, or they were live when we started. So I really appreciate you being here. And we get a lot of people watching on the recordings now, probably more so on the recordings than we do live. So if you're watching on that, get in the comments like a lot of people have done in the chat. And don't forget to smash a like, subscribe. Brian, you haven't put your channel name up there. I'll be very surprised if people haven't already subscribed to Tottenham on Tour. But tell us what you're up to on there.
Yeah, I mean, tonight at 9 o'clock Toronto time, which is 2 a.m. your time. Every Sunday and Wednesday, we now do a late show, which will be Thursday morning your time. So we're doing that. Tomorrow, Cockerel Doodle Doo will be back with Ben. Tuesday, ANGE Management will be back with me and Johnny. All I will say is, most importantly, December, we've got a program coming out for the month of December. And it's going to be must-see TV. It's going to be pre-recorded, lots of laughs, lots of festivities, and a real enjoyable watch. And all will be revealed during the international break.
There's going to be naked scenes, donations for who's going to be naked. And...
No. Don't do that. It's going to be really good viewing. Tottenham on Tour naked does not correlate with essential viewing. That's for damn sure.
Depends who's on. Depends who's on. I'm not going to say the good ones. I'll sound a bit gay. I'll sound a bit gay, but you know what I'm saying. Anyway,
just leave
peace
it
out,
at
everyone. Stay classy.
Leave me out.
Next show, probably Tuesday night with the N17 effect. Hopefully, we're still top of the table. And it's every
Yeah, I
time.
said I'll come on that, Tommy. That because I couldn't come on last Tuesday. If you're doing one Tuesday, I'm 100% there. 100%
Perfect.
there.
What time's your morning show tomorrow, Daigle? What time?
9 a.m.
9 a.m.
9
Make
a.m.
sure you get over
UK.
there. Mr. Kaufman, going solo live. Not going solo. I mean, he's obviously you're not there because you're fast asleep.
Yep.
But Ben will be there. Make sure you check it out and subscribe to Tottenham on Tour. And please subscribe to us if you haven't already done so. We're on the road to 3K. And yeah, peace out. Stay classy, little whites. We prolong.